Hey everybody, John from Folklogical here. Wanted to make a video for you today talking about common mistakes that people make in Globiflow, that I make in Globiflow. And I've spent time, sometimes 30 minutes of time scratching my head wondering why something complex is not working. And it's because of something simple that I did wrong. So we're going to go through that today. If you like this video, I hope that you'll go check out my Globiflow courses. I have a bunch of videos that walk you through how to use Globiflow that aren't on YouTube. So if that link is in the description below, if you enjoy this video, please go check that out. But let's get started. So I've got a space here, and what I've got already is a push from sales to project. So when I mark a sales item as sold, it will go and create a project item. And what I like to do usually is when an item is created, I'll install defaults. And usually for me, that's assign a task or like just set the status as new, which covers if I do it with a Globiflow flow, like if I push from sales to projects, or if somebody just goes in and manually creates a project, all of it is uniform. I also have another flow to pull in files. So let's go ahead and test that and make sure and see if that works and that those two flows run. So let's take a look at Tom here. You know what, let's just make a new one. Got Brian. Email. All right, and new, and let's just give a quick file for this. Let's go with a computer. Oh, that's a huge file. Hang on, let's put a tiny file in. I don't need to be sitting here for ages waiting for that to work. We'll go with just this PNG. All right, let's let that upload. Please take a second, and then I'm going to save the item. Okay, so now what I would assume would happen is if I click sold, then it's going to go ahead and create a new project called Brian. So if I go to Brian's project, I'm sitting here, I'm waiting. I don't see anything happening in the activity. I don't see anything attaching via files. Why is that? The reason for that is because I did not turn on the hook. So if I come into this flow that pushes when marked as sold and creates a new project, up here in the options is what's called hook event. Now if you're doing this fresh and you're creating a new item, it shows up right away. You don't have to expand it out. So what is a hook? So all automations inside of Podio are based around something called webhooks. So when an item is updated, when an item is created, when a comment is added, a webhook will fire. And then software like Globiflow watches for these webhooks to fire and then can take action upon them based upon what happened in the webhook. So whenever I'm coming into Podio and clicking around and doing different things, I myself am firing off webhooks. It's happening. Webhooks are going off. Now, if Globiflow is doing it, by default, it's always turned off. So if you are creating a flow, and let's say you're creating an item, updating a collected item, and you want that to trigger another flow, you need to make sure that you turn on that hook event. The reason it's defaultly turned off is so that it doesn't make something called an infinite loop, where one flow triggers another flow and then that flow triggers another flow. But if you know what you're doing and you need, in my case here, I'm pushing from a sales app to a projects app, and when that item is created in the projects app, I want to pull files and I want to install some defaults. So now that I turned that on, let's test it again. Let's go back to Brian. And let's mark it as sold. All right, so now we've got Brian here, and we can see that it added a task and it uploaded a file. So that is exactly what I want to see, and it's because of that hook. So always make sure that if you are wanting that flow to interact and do other things, that it's going to that the hook's turned on, so other flows will trigger from it. All right, cool. The next common mistake is around really just app name. So if I've got this sales app, and let's say I'm going to clone this because I want to add in a pipeline of prospects. So I have duplicated it. I'm going to come into app settings, and I'm going to rename this to prospects. All right. So, and then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a field inside of projects that references, out to prospects. All right. Now what I want to do is when an item is created inside the projects app, I want to just go and just for the sake of this demo, add a comment with the prospect name and the sales name. So let me come into here, and I'm going to, upon create, I'm going to go back and look at the records for sales. It's going to be a forward relationship from sales to prospects. And you know what I did not do is I did not refresh, and that was a secret other problem that people have. So whenever you go into projects or into Podio and you change something, you change a name, a field, add an app, add a workspace, always come back in and refresh inside Globiflow. You can click on a workspace just to refresh a specific workspace, or you can refresh from Podio, which refreshes every single organization and workspace that you have access to. So always make sure that you refresh. Now, let's come back into here so that I can actually see the projects or the prospects. So I'm going to do another get referenced, and I'm going to go to prospects. And that would be a forward as well because I'm on the projects and it has the relationship field to prospect. And then I'm going to add a comment. So from that, I just want to say sales, client name, prospects, client name. So what I need to do now is pull in the token. So if I click on this token and I scroll down, what? Everything is rough sales. And they have the exact same field, so I have no idea which app is which. That's a key thing about Globiflow. So when you're using the get referenced up here, it's always the app names, but when you're inserting a token, it's using the app's item name. So I did this on purpose, but if you saw when I created prospects, when I cloned sales into prospects and I went in and changed the name to prospects, I did not change this item name. You always want to make sure that you have unique app names and item names, because that ensures that you're able to see them correctly inside of Globiflow. So let's go refresh. All right, so now when I come down here, I should be able to see two unique tokens. One that says sales and one that says prospects. So I know that the sales name goes here and then the prospect's name goes here. And that's that. So those are 3 common mistakes that people make inside of Globiflow. The first is not having the hook event turned on. The second one is not refreshing when you change something in Podio. And then the third one is not changing the item name to be unique. The app name needs to be unique as well, so that when you're using the get reference feature and pulling in tokens of other apps, you know what you're clicking on. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please check out my course. The link is in the description below. I do have a lot of other YouTube videos that are great about Podio and Globiflow. Please check those out. But the course, like I said, has a lot of stuff that is not on YouTube. Actually, all of it's not on YouTube. And it's just a great overview of Globiflow that will get you being almost as good as I am at it. I teach you a lot of things in it. So thanks for joining me.